Hi, I'm Dave from Snake River Farms, and this is a strip loin. And we're gonna turn this into steaks, which is super easy, really fun, and it gives you a sense of accomplishment when you're done. Hey, to get started, we're gonna use a sharp knife. I know that sounds obvious, but a sharp knife does a better job cutting the beef, and also it just makes the job a lot safer. So when you go to a butcher shop, they will take all this excess fat off and cut the steaks. To make it easier for us at home, we're gonna cut this into steaks first and then trim later. So you'll see the strip loin is naturally tapered, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna cheat a little bit. We're gonna square off this edge just so the steaks are even and they'll be easier to cut. So this isn't a full steak, but it's a nice cut of meat, and that'll make somebody happy. We'll just set it over here. All right, so we're gonna be super generous, and we're gonna cut these to 1 3/4 inches. So what I'll do is I'll cut the first steak, and then I'll use that as my reference point for the other steaks. The one trick when you're cutting your steaks, you don't want to saw it back and forth. We want it to go in one even swoop, and that makes sure you get a very clean cut. We're just going to come back 2 swipes. Look at that. So what I'm doing is actually using this to kind of measure, just because we want them to be even. So they'll look good, and also they'll cook evenly. Man, this is a beautiful strip loin. This guy, we're just going to cut in half here. So on a strip loin, there's 2 ends. One's on the sirloin side and one's on the rib side. The rib side tends to be the more favorable of the two. It's a more beautiful steak. This is the rib side, if you look at it right here. And then this is the sirloin side. Sometimes they call it the unappetizing vein end. A tip for this, sometimes people use this, they slow cook it as a roast. If you have anyone in the house that likes a well-done steak, give them this one. Save this for the medium rare or rare folks. Now that we've got these steaks cut, like we mentioned before, we're gonna do this kind of the reverse way. We're just gonna go ahead and take some of this off. When you watch a butcher do it, there are these pieces right here that's kind of this connective tissue, and so they'll cut that off. And you'll see it's right here too. You don't wanna get too much of the steak, but we're still gonna work to cut that off. Kind of give it this shape. And then down here it gets a little bit dicey just because you're like, oh man, there's some meat in there, but honestly you don't want that much fat. What butchers often do is they just cut that blunt. Take that off. And then we'll make it a little more sexy. We'll trim them up a little bit. New York strip. All right, well there you have it. We've taken a Snake River Farms American Wagyu strip loin, and it's now 10 New York strips.